Hey guys, it's Alyssa from Alyssa's Bake Shop. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my most prized recipe, my most secret recipe. I'm just kidding, it's not really a secret. I'm finally going to put it out here on YouTube and on my blog. It's my sugar cookie recipe. I came up with this back in 2016 when I wanted to have my own small home business. I got great feedback from clients over the years, and even though I don't bake and sell anymore, I still make this for family and friends, and of course for the content here on YouTube. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really in the mood to bake, so let's go get started. Gather all of your ingredients, and we want to make sure that our unsalted butter and egg is at room temperature. So today we only have 6 ingredients: all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, vanilla extract, 1 egg, 2 sticks of unsalted butter, and then a pinch of salt. In my stand mixer, I'm going to put on the paddle attachment, and I'm going to put in the softened butter, and I'm just going to mix this on high speed for about 30 seconds to a minute, just so that the butter is nice and creamy. We're going to add in our granulated sugar so that we can cream them together. So I would cream my butter and sugar at about 2 minutes on high speed, just so that the sugar is really incorporated. Once those are done mixing, I'm going to just turn off the mixer, and using my rubber spatula, I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl. This is really helpful, and I don't suggest ever skipping the step where you have to scrape down the sides, just because it will allow your ingredients to incorporate better. Then we're going to add in our egg, and we're going to mix it on medium speed. While it's mixing, add in the vanilla extract and the pinch of salt. I'm going to turn off the stand mixer, and I'm just going to wipe everything down one more time, and then I'm going to add in half of the flour. I like to do half at a time because flour can be really messy and it can shoot up all over the place. We don't want to overmix the dough, so as soon as that first batch of flour is incorporated, I'm going to turn off the stand mixer and add in the rest of it. And then I'm going to mix it only until the dough comes together, because it's really easy to overmix cookie dough. As soon as you see all that flour incorporated and the dough has come together, turn off your stand mixer. I'm laying a piece of plastic wrap on the counter so I can turn out the dough. You can see it's a bit crumbly, but it's okay. As long as the flour is completely incorporated, this recipe can withstand a lot. Except over mixing, don't do that. I'm going to chill this dough for about 30 minutes in the refrigerator, so I'm just gently kneading it together. I've used this recipe hundreds of times, and I've done both chilling and not chilling. Traditionally, sugar cookie dough should be chilled, and that's what I recommend for my recipe. But I've been short on time too, and I know someone may ask, so I wanted to share what I found. This recipe spreads a tiny bit when not chilled, so if you're making simple shapes like circles or a rectangle, you can probably get away with it. But if you're using a cutter that's a star or a snowflake or anything that has little sharp corners, definitely chill the dough because it allows for the cookie to hold a cleaner and crisp shape. After your dough has been chilled, we're going to take it out of the refrigerator. You want to turn your oven on to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I like to add parchment paper to protect my baking trays. Then I'm going to add some flour to a clean surface, and it's time to start rolling out the cookies. I don't have much counter space, so that's why I like to roll out the dough a third or a half at a time. If your dough has been in the refrigerator for over 30 minutes, it might be really cold and hard to roll out, so I suggest just leaving it alone for a few minutes so it gets a little bit warmer, or you can kind of knead it like this with your hands. Now we're going to roll out the dough, so use a rolling pin. I'm actually using a fondant roller here, but like I said, I don't have much space in my kitchen, so sometimes I have to make the tools that I have work for me in multiple ways. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on top just so that the dough is slightly less sticky. What I like to do in order to get an even dough is turn it as I roll it. So I'm going to roll it this way, stop, and then flip it, and then keep on rolling it. And I like to get it to 1/4 of an inch thick. If you want to have a nice soft sugar cookie with slightly crisp edges, it needs to be a little bit on the thicker side. Today I'm going with a moon and 2 different size stars in order to give you guys some tips about using different sized cookie cutters. I'm going to start by cutting out the moons, and I'm going to transfer them to my baking tray with parchment paper. My tip here is to bake cookies that are the same sizes on the same tray. So for example, the moons and the medium-sized stars that I'm cutting out, those can be on the same tray because they're about 3 to 3.5 inches. But these mini tiny stars that I'm cutting out, I'm going to put these on their own baking tray. These typically need about 7 to 8 minutes, while the medium ones need about 9 to 10 minutes. And even though it's a couple minutes difference, those minutes are really important because those little ones can burn really quickly. Roll your cookie dough scraps back together, just slightly knead them, don't overwork them too much. And then you're going to want to add some of that other dough that we've set aside. I like to add the new dough to the dough that we just worked because it just helps to keep things going, and sometimes we don't have a lot of time and we really got to keep things moving. This also ensures that you're not going to roll out your dough too thin. You want to make sure you're keeping that 1/4 of an inch thickness. These stars and the moons, they can bake at about 9 to 10 minutes, and anything smaller than that, I would suggest 7 to 8 minutes. You really have to know your oven here because even a minute can make a difference when it comes to sugar cookies. You want the sides to be slightly brown and the bottom of the cookie to be a slightly brown, but not anything much darker than that. So by doing this, you're going to have the crisp edges and the nice and soft centers. It's the perfect combination. I don't like to leave my cookies sitting on top of the hot baking tray just because they can keep cooking when they're on there. So I like to transfer them, and these cool down really quickly. They're honestly pretty much cool and ready to decorate in about 10 minutes. These cookies are nice and buttery and have a slight vanilla taste, which is why they're perfect for my royal icing recipe. They're not overly sweet at all, and you can just eat them as is if you want. I'll link the recipe down below. They last in an airtight container for 7 days. I did go on to decorate them and marble them, so look out for that video next. Thank you guys for watching this, and I will see you next time.